I want to tell you something that might surprise you. When men say they had amazing sex, most women assume it's because of what happened physically. A certain move, a certain position, a certain skill set. But here's the truth the sex men remember. The sex they can't stop thinking about is rarely just about the physical act. It's the feeling you create, it's the moments before, during, and after that make him say, I've never experienced anything like this before. Now, a lot of dating advice tells women to learn new tricks or master the art of seduction. And yes, there's nothing wrong with expanding your repertoire, but if you think great sex for a man is just about lingerie, flexibility, or some acrobatic skill, you're missing the deeper truth. Men crave something much more powerful. They crave an emotional and psychological charge that makes the experience feel electric, addictive, personal. Think about it. He can have good sex with almost anyone, but the sex that lives in his mind for days, weeks, even years, that's the sex where he felt wanted, safe, surprised, and completely wrapped up in the moment with you. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 sex secrets men crave, and they have very little to do with a Kama Sutra diagram and everything to do with how you make him feel. These aren't just tips to make him enjoy the moment. These are ways to make him remember you every time he thinks about desire. Because when you know what men really mean when they say great sex, you don't just give him pleasure, you give him obsession. Most people think great sex starts the moment the clothes come off. But the truth is the best sex starts long before that, hours before, sometimes even days before. The build-up is half the pleasure, and men crave it more than they'll ever say out loud. See, men love the idea of being surprised, taste, and kept in a little bit of delicious suspense. It's not just about the act itself, it's about that slow burn of anticipation that makes him restless, distracted, and thinking about you when he's supposed to be focused on other things. It might be as simple as the way you look at him over dinner. That extra second your eyes hold his, the subtle smile that says you're up to something he doesn't quite know yet. It's the way your hand brushes his when you walk past him in the hallway, or the playful text you send in the middle of the day that reads, just so you know I can't stop thinking about last night, even if nothing happened last night. You're planting seeds in his mind. You're making his imagination do half the work for you. And trust me, that's where the magic is. Most women underestimate the power of pre-sex foreplay. And I'm not talking about kissing before you get into bed. I mean the emotional and mental foreplay that starts hours earlier. It's the whisper in his ear when other people are around and he can't react right away. It's giving him a flash of skin when you're getting dressed and then acting like you didn't notice he saw. These little moments make him impatient for the combination of desire and delay. It's why the kiss at the end of a perfect first date feels electric, because you've both been building toward it. In a relationship, you can recreate that same charge by not giving everything away instantly. Tease him. Play with timing. Let him wonder what's coming next. The build-up also tells him something important, that you're enjoying the process as much as the destination. Men love knowing that you're turned on, but they also love seeing that you're having fun with it, that you're playful, that you're confident enough to create that tension. It's not just about making him want you physically. It's about making him feel like this moment between you two is special, worth waiting for, worth savoring. When you master the art of the build-up, you stop sex from being a transaction and turn it into an event, an experience, something that starts with a look, builds with a touch, escalates with a tease, and finally explodes when you both can't take the suspense anymore. And when that happens, the actual moment of intimacy becomes 10 times more intense, because it's the climax of a story you've been writing together all day. That's what he remembers. Not just that the sex was good, but that you made it unforgettable before it even began. A lot of women put unnecessary pressure on themselves to be perfect in bed, as if great sex is some kind of exam where you need to hit every mark, know every technique, and never make a mistake. But here's the truth: most men don't want perfection. They want enthusiasm. And in many cases, enthusiasm beats perfection every single time. Think about it. If a guy is with someone who seems tense, worried about how she looks, or constantly in her head about whether she's doing something right, the energy changes. It feels like a performance, not a connection. Men can feel that. But when a woman is clearly into it, laughing, moaning, kissing with passion, pulling him closer, it's magnetic. It makes him feel wanted in a way that technique alone can't. You could have all the moves in the world, But if he feels like you're just going through the motions, it won't stick in his mind. On the other hand, even if you don't think you're doing anything extraordinary, if your body language, your expressions, your sounds all communicate, I want you right now and I love being here with you, that's the stuff he remembers. Enthusiasm also removes the pressure for both of you to be flawless. Maybe something doesn't go exactly as planned. You knock something off the nightstand. You miss a beat in the rhythm. You both get tangled up in a blanket. But instead of it being awkward, you laugh for him and pull him closer. It's about letting go of self-consciousness and giving yourself permission to feel good. Because when you're clearly enjoying yourself, it amplifies his enjoyment too. This doesn't mean you have to be wild every time. Enthusiasm can be intense and passionate, or it can be slow and sensual. The key is that you're fully present, responding to him, reacting naturally to what you're feeling. That's what makes it real. That's what makes it unforgettable. When a man senses that you're fully in the moment, not holding back, not distracted, it tells him that he's doing something right, that you're not just allowing intimacy to happen, you're actively participating in it. And for a man, that's not just sexy, it's intoxicating. So remember, he's not chasing a perfect performance. He's chasing the feeling of being with someone who wants him, enjoys him, and isn't afraid to show it. When you give him that, you're not just having sex, you're creating a memory that he'll replay in his head over and over again. There's something most people overlook about men when it comes to sex. We're told they're confident, dominant, and in control, that they're always sure of themselves in the bedroom. But the truth is, even the most self-assured man is putting himself in an incredibly vulnerable position during sex. And how you respond to that vulnerability can be the difference between an experience he forgets tomorrow and one that stays with him for years. Think about it. During sex, a man is literally naked, physically, yes, but also emotionally. He's showing you his body in its most unguarded state. He's making sounds, faces, movements that he might not even be aware of. He's letting you see him in a moment of pure instinct where he's not in control of every expression or action. That's a big deal, even if he doesn't talk about it. If you've ever seen a man freeze up when he feels judged, maybe you laughed at an awkward moment, or commented on something in a way that made him self-conscious, you know how quickly that vulnerability can close up. Men remember that feeling, and it can make them guarded in the future. That's why the women who become unforgettable in bed are the ones who make him feel completely safe in his vulnerability. Safety in this context doesn't mean you're tiptoeing around him or treating him like glass. It means you're accepting him exactly as he is in that moment. No criticism, no comparison, no little remarks that might make him retreat into his head. You're letting him be raw, unfiltered, imperfect, and still feel desired. And here's the thing, when a man feels safe with you in that way, he's willing to go deeper. He'll show you sides of himself that he might hide from other partners. He might share fantasies he's never told anyone about. He might let go of control and give himself over to the experience in a way he usually wouldn't. That's where the connection deepens, and that's where sex becomes more than just physical pleasure. It becomes emotional intimacy. This isn't about faking approval or pretending to like something you don't. It's about creating a space where he feels like he can try things, express himself, and be fully present without fear of embarrassment. Even small things like holding eye contact when he's at his most vulnerable, or touching him softly in those moments after, send the message, I like you exactly as you are right now. Men may not admit it, but they're just as sensitive to rejection in the bedroom as women are, sometimes more so, because society tells them they have to be confident all the time. When you're the person who gives him that rare freedom to be fully himself, you're giving him something that goes beyond sex. You're giving him emotional safety. And here's the secret. Emotional safety is an aphrodisiac. When a man trusts you not to judge him, his desire for you actually increases. He'll crave that feeling of release, not just in the physical sense, but in the emotional sense too. And that's the kind of craving that keeps him coming back over and over, because he knows he can't find it just anywhere. One of the biggest misconceptions about men is that they want constant novelty in the bedroom, that if you're not reinventing the wheel every week, he's going to get bored. But the truth is, what men crave isn't constant change. It's occasional variety that keeps the energy fresh without making it feel like a forced performance. Think of it this way: his favorite meal doesn't stop being his favorite because he's had it before. But if you add a new seasoning, change the presentation, or surprise him with it in a different setting, suddenly it feels exciting again. The same principle applies to sex. A little twist now and then can reignite his curiosity and keep him thinking about you long after it's over. Variety doesn't have to mean wild, out of character stunts or things that make you uncomfortable. It can be as simple as changing the location. Maybe it's the living room instead of the bedroom. Maybe you initiate instead of waiting for him to. Maybe you change the pace, going slower than usual, or surprising him by being a little bolder than he's used to. These small changes signal to him that intimacy with you is never stale, that there's always a new side to explore. But here's the key: men don't want to feel pressured into novelty. If every time you're together, you're trying something extreme to spice things up, it can actually make him feel like what you have isn't enough. The most powerful variety is the kind that feels organic, playful, and effortless. You're not trying to prove you're exciting, you're simply letting your natural curiosity and mood lead you. Sometimes that variety can be subtle, a change in the way you kiss, the introduction of a playful blindfold, even just a different kind of touch. It's not about shocking him, it's about keeping him on his toes just enough that he's always wondering, what's she going to do next? That wondering is what keeps the spark alive. And remember, variety works both ways. It's not only about what you do to him, it's about inviting him to explore you in new ways too. Maybe you guide his hands somewhere different, or you tell him what you're in the mood for in a way you haven't before. When you open that door, you're encouraging him to be curious, to experiment, and to see you as someone who's always got another layer to reveal. What makes this so powerful is that it taps into a man's natural desire for adventure, but instead of him needing to go anywhere else to find it, he finds it with you. That's how you become the woman he associates with excitement and passion without it ever feeling forced or unnatural. And here's the beautiful thing: variety doesn't have to happen every time. In fact, it works best when it's occasional, because then it feels like a surprise. If everything is always new, nothing actually feels new. But when you have a baseline of comfort and connection, and then every so often you throw in a twist, it makes those moments feel thrilling and memorable. So don't put pressure on yourself to constantly reinvent sex. Instead, think about the little changes that make him feel like he's discovering you all over again. That's what keeps him hooked. Not because you're doing more, but because with you, there's always something to look forward to. Most people think sex ends when the physical act is over, but for men, one of the most important parts of the entire experience happens afterward, in the afterglow. And here's the secret: what you do in those moments after sex can often have a bigger emotional impact on him than anything that happened during. See, for many men, sex is the one time they can truly let go, physically, emotionally, mentally. Afterward, there's this raw, unguarded space where the adrenaline is fading, the body is relaxed, and the heart is more open than usual. What you do in that window can turn good sex into an unforgettable connection. Some women make the mistake of pulling away too quickly, getting dressed, grabbing their phone, heading to the bathroom without a word. And while that's not wrong, it can unintentionally send the message that the intimacy was purely physical. For a man who's just shared one of the most vulnerable moments he can have, that can feel like a sudden drop off. But when you lean into that afterglow, when you touch his chest, rest your head on his shoulder, play with his hair, or just hold his gaze with a soft smile, it tells him something powerful. This wasn't just about the act, it was about us. That simple reassurance builds trust, affection, and a deeper sense of closeness. You don't have to turn it into a heavy conversation. In fact, keeping it light often works best. Maybe you laugh about a moment that happened, whisper something you loved about what you just shared, or simply stay quiet together, letting the silence feel comfortable instead of empty. Those moments create an emotional imprint he will keep coming back to. Men also crave a sense of being seen in those moments, not as a lover in the abstract, but as the man you want to be close to. If you can make him feel like you enjoy him outside of the physical release, you become someone he associates with emotional safety and warmth. That's rare for him, and it's addictive. Think about it. If sex is the peak of a mountain, the afterglow is the view from the top. If you rush away too soon, he misses the beauty of it. But if you stay there with him, even just for a little while, he gets to soak it in. And it's that memory, the way you made him feel after, that will stick with him. For many men, those post-sex moments are when they feel the most open to connection. It's when they're more likely to let their guard down, to share something real, or to simply allow themselves to be close without worrying about saying or doing the right thing. When you create a habit of nurturing that space, you're building a bond that makes the physical intimacy even better the next time. So here's the takeaway. Don't see the afterglow as an afterthought. See it as an essential part of great sex, because when you pair physical passion with emotional connection in those quiet, unhurried minutes afterward, you're not just giving him pleasure, you're giving him something far more valuable. You're giving him a memory he'll replay in his mind every time he thinks of you. So here's the truth. When men talk about great sex, they're not just talking about the mechanics. They're talking about how it felt from the very first spark of anticipation to the moment you both catch your breath afterward. They remember the build up that made them restless for you. They remember the way your enthusiasm made them feel wanted and chosen. They remember the safety you gave them to be completely themselves. They remember the little surprises that kept them curious. And they remember the warmth of the afterglow when the world faded away and it was just the two of you. If you take away one thing from this, let it be this: great sex isn't about being perfect. It's about creating a story, an experience that touches every sense, every emotion, every layer of desire. Because when you do that, you're not just another person he's been with, you're the person he can't forget. Now, here's my challenge to you. Stop seeing intimacy as just a moment and start seeing it as a journey. Play with the build up. Show up with genuine energy. Make space for his vulnerability. Add small doses of variety. And most importantly, stay present in those afterglow moments where the deepest connection is made. Because when you do these things, you're not only giving him great sex, you're creating a craving that no one else can satisfy. And that's the kind of connection that lasts. If you found this helpful, I want you to take just one of these 5 secrets and put it into action the next time you're with him. Watch the difference it makes. And when you're ready to learn even more about how to build attraction, connection, and desire in every part of your relationship, you know where to find me.